Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm with Jason. He's been a client of mine for the last, man, how long has it been now? 4 months?
Since
5 months? The end of
close to
June.
5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's been great. You've had a pretty good transformation so far, I'd say, eating a lot more food. We'll run through that, man. Ask Jason a bunch of questions, see his input on things. So, first things first, man, who are you and like, what do you do?
So I'm currently a second year student in a doctorate of physical therapy program. So kind of puts a lot more of the science-based stuff with fitness, but also more rehab aspect of stuff, which I kind of love how I can able to combine the two interests that I have.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, where were you at on your fitness journey when we met?
So let's see, it was like the summer. So it was maybe just shy of 3 years of my like fitness journey.
Mhm.
So June, I want to say like about July, August 2021, I was around 250 pounds and got down to about fluctuate between like 180, 190.
Yeah.
So kind of where I am right now, but because macros and tracking all that has never been my strong suit in terms of like what I need. I was always eating like I think we started at like 1900, 2000 calories and kind of just plateauing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. Now what made you want to make like this change of yours?
Definitely just wanted to like be able to actually eat a sufficient amount of calories for that's actually sustainable for myself.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with 2000 calories, it's like, at one point I was getting close to what a bodybuilder eats before a prep.
Yeah,
And I was not even close to like a bodybuilder's percentage at prep.
I know. Yeah. I don't know how people just eat 1,800 calories per day. Like I'm hungry, man. Like I need more food. Like, especially if you have like some muscle mass on you, man. Like you need to feed your muscles. You can't be starving yourself. We can't be eating like a 12-year-old girl. I say that a lot, but it's so huge, man. Like there's no need for you to be eating 1,800 calories. So I'm with you there, man. So how do you feel now that you're eating more calories? I mean, we literally went from, I believe, 2,100 calories, and now you're eating 3,600 calories per day. So how do you feel eating more?
I feel like I'm more of a normal person. Like my meals don't seem like kind of pathetic because I feel like sometimes prepping meals at like 1700, 1800 calories was like kind of sad in comparison. Now there are days where it's like some days I'm really hungry and I really like appreciate 3,600 calories, and there's some days where I'm like, I feel like I'm just like, oh my God, how am I gonna get to all of this?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how did you feel like in the gym eating that low calories too? Were you making progress?
I also felt like I had no structure. I had an idea of like what exercises would target what. So I feel like the lack of structure there on top of the like lack of food, I kind of just felt like I was just every workout was like a going with the flow. Never felt like I was pushing myself.
Yeah. No, I get that, man. I'll talk to some people at the gym and then just tell me like, yeah, man, I mean, I'm just in here, my triceps are sore or aren't sore. I hit them yesterday, so I'll just redo them again. I did back 2 days ago, so it's time to hit them again. Yeah, I mean, no structure at all. And that's not really how you grow. And if you have a structured plan, you can see, the amount of weight that you did last week and hopefully try and beat that. And I think that's something that you've done pretty well at. I mean, I feel like you've gotten a lot stronger. Seeing on my end, seeing, how much weight. I remember whenever we started our dumbbell incline bench press, man, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I do know like you're repping it out for a lot more weight now. And
I
it took
think
time.
it's I think it's like an increase of like 15, 20 pounds. I think I was if I was lucky,
Yeah.
like a set of 10 or 12 reps with 40, maybe 45 on a good day.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember, I think I was the other day on our check-in, I was looking at like our first workouts, one of our first workouts. And I remember your last set, it was, a struggle. Like we barely got it for like 4 reps. And now you're literally starting with that same weight for like 12. I was like, wow, that's crazy. What information do you think has helped you the most with making this change?
Definitely the the metabolic prime reset that definitely just increasing certain macros to kind of not to eat more, but also not be gaining weight in compared to a bulk,
Right.
which I feel like a lot of other people, at least a lot of other influencers, were always like, you either have to cut or you have to bulk. No one ever kind of really addressed it's not necessarily a body recomp, but just readjusting the diet first before making that decision.
Yeah. And I think it's a lot more easier to like lose weight if you're actually eating enough calories. Like some people will literally come to me eating, 1,800 calories per day trying to lose 40 pounds. And I'm just saying, like, you don't want to starve yourself. That's not sustainable. You don't want to do that. You're going to feel miserable. So if you get to a healthier maintenance before you even start like that weight loss phase, you're going to be in a lot better of a place. Um, which you have done pretty well at. I mean, we were, like you said, we started around 180-ish and about 2,100 calories per day. And we got to about 3,200 calories without gaining a single pound. And then we got to a point where we were talking, we wanted to go on like a small bulk kind of in which we have been doing for like the past month or so. And we're finally going to like our first mini cut, but literally eating 3,200 calories per day without gaining a single pound. And you do have a body recomposition right there. I mean, if we show your before and after photos from 3,200 calories versus, your 2,000 calories, I feel like it's a completely different person, honestly. I mean, how do you feel about that?
No, I felt like before we started the bulk, it was the most lean, but also with actual muscle mass
Yeah.
on my body. Because I was going through old photos recently of myself when I think about a year ago, when I just finished my first summer of PT school. I wasn't able to the gym a lot because I was constantly just studying. I think I hit my lowest of 175 or something like that. But was eating 1,700 calories at that point. So I
Yeah.
looked really lean, but I can tell I lost muscle mass in that process.
Really fat or really flat. Yeah. Yeah, no, man. Now if I were to tell you whenever we first started I was gonna have you eat more calories but like look better, did that scare you at all?
Initially, yes, but I feel like you provided just enough context and information, and you also progress it in a way that I didn't feel intimidated after that point.
Yeah.
Because once you kind of broke down of how much we're adding of certain carbs and fats and protein each week, and then also weighing myself and kind of seeing the actual results of what the intention was, it made it less fearful and more okay, this is working. Let me put in my part of the effort in the gym and trying to get stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how it sounds like talking in like, just messages at first. Like, yeah, dude, I mean, we can get you to eat 1,200 more calories, but not gain a single pound. I bet that's so confusing at first. You're like, what is he talking about, man? But then whenever we did hop on that phone call, broke it down, show you how it's worked for other people and like really what to expect. It's not like I was gonna have you eat, 1,200 calories in the matter of one day or 1,200 extra calories in the matter of one day. We ease our way into it. And I think that's you got to do that because your body's not used to eating, 3,500 calories from the beginning. So, yeah, absolutely, man. Now, what was your first thought whenever I told you that? The first thing that you ever thought?
About what
Just
part?
eating more. And what would
I
you have
mean,
without any if I said that without giving you any information, what would you have said to me?
part of me was like, that sounds great, but I'm not trying to dirty bulk.
Yeah. All right. Now, what would you say has been your biggest change in information so far? Like what you thought you knew before and then what you know now.
Definitely how almost basically this metabolic prime, metabolic reset is actually a lot more closely tied to a body recomp than I actually didn't I didn't realize how hand in hand those two were.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it definitely was oh, okay, it's 'cause I feel like a lot of times on social media, a lot of influencers never really go into the body recomp aspect. They always talk about either like the skinny guy that's trying to bulk or the overweight guy that's trying to cut. No one ever talks about like the in between phases when like doing it for too long is not going to be sustainable.
Yeah. And I think that's the one big thing about like social media is if you're just scrolling through social media, it's so hard to decide like which way you need to go or which way you should go, which way you want to go. There's just so much information out there and it can honestly be like so overwhelming. And I've talked to some people that just like haven't got into it because it's just so overwhelming. So I mean, I totally agree on that, man. Now, what would you say about your plan? Has it been easy to follow so far, or the food's good that you eat?
I mean, I feel like everything I've been eating has been kind of what I generally have anyway. I mean, like I always eat chicken breast. It's kind of just something I normally like anyway. And then I eat, but I feel like in terms of the diet, it's always been kind of what I've been eating beforehand, but just slightly altered week by week depending what the goals are.
Right.
And then I'm someone who kind of focuses on the long-term goal of like, okay, this may not be always be fun or it may seem mundane now, but like I'm looking to see what the end goal is going to be, and I know it's going to pay off.
Absolutely. I love that, man. And that's like honestly with any aspect in life. Nothing easy or nothing good is gonna come easy. And it comes down to you and like how hard you're gonna push yourself to achieve this goal. You gotta give it your all. I'm giving you the blueprint to do this and telling you what to do. So props to you for actually following it and giving it your all. Because without that, obviously you would be nowhere right now. So, it's not like, you get with me and then I give you all this and it's like boom, like change right there. Like no, you still have to put the work in. And you knowing that it's not going to change overnight is like the mindset of what everyone needs to know. And I don't know, I feel like social media will make you have real like unrealistic expectations with things. So, I don't know, I just know that messes with your head a lot. Now, talk to me more about the gym, man. Like I know we said it already, but like you're getting stronger. What has like been your favorite part about the gym so far? Like do you look forward to any day specifically? Do you look forward to the gym at all compared to like before?
I mean, before I would look forward to going to the gym, it's always kind of been like today might have been an awful day, but like I get to be in my own little world and I don't have to deal with anyone that's been annoying me. Now it's still the same thing, but now because there's more structure, it's like okay, chest day, great. Let me see if I can push more weight for today. Because I think like one of the things we discussed about was kind of doing more like chest focus to work more upper chest. So like okay, like I want to see can I do more today, and like I actually get to kind of now having the structure. Okay, let me actually be able to hit a new PR for the week.
Yeah. I mean, it gives you something to work toward. And this is something else that I've been pretty huge on it, which I'm huge on a lot of things apparently. But something that I'm also really huge about is having a goal in mind to work toward. Because I feel like if you don't have a goal in mind, like it's very easy to like find yourself upset or just down. And really having a goal in mind just it makes your work ethic a lot like more. Like for example, like I got to a point in my fitness journey, like honestly, like recently, like a few months ago, where I was just, I just go to the gym just to go. And you're right, like it's just like a stress-free environment. Like nothing in life matters once you're there. Put your phone on do not disturb. It's a good time. But once I had made that decision of like I want to compete next year, like I know I'm going to get big these next couple months, just eating more, doing a proper off season, but I know it's going to pay off. I have this goal in mind, and every single day, like I've been on my plan, maybe about 85% of the time, but I have that goal in mind that I'm working toward, and I know it's going to pay off. It's something I've always wanted to do. So I think that's something really big to always have a goal in mind. It can be a long-term goal, a short-term goal. So like for example, like if you have a long-term goal of wanting to be like 180 pounds lean and you're 180 pounds skinny fat right now, like yeah, it's not gonna, happen overnight. But you got to create short-term goals to get there one step at a time. And that's wherever I come up with this analogy of like it's like grabbing little puzzle pieces, each short-term goal. And eventually over time you'll have a masterpiece. I've been saying that a lot too recently. But I think that is an amazing part of it because obviously, if you want to be 180 lean, you gotta have some muscle mass, man. And as you've been increasing your weight in the gym and actually making a change, that's just one step closer. So props to you, man, with that. Now, I know guy to guy, it's a lot hard for guys to want to listen to guys because just like an ego thing. So like at what point made you want to actually start listening to me?
I mean, you were probably the first that introduced the metabolic priming to me, because I feel like other influencers have tried to like message me and kind of like join, like have join them,
Mm.
but they never. I feel like in terms of the the diet aspect of it, no one ever like focused on that part. It was always just focused on like what like just terms of like aesthetic goals rather than like, okay, great, but the how's your diet looking?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of those guys, and I hate to say it, man, I'm not trying to like say any names, but a lot of those guys are just on a bunch of like PEDs so they can eat like whatever they want and look however great they want as well. But I don't know. I know so many coaches in the industry that just don't have the knowledge just because like I've talked to a lot of people, but I don't say it, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, how are you a coach? You don't even know how many calories are in a gram of protein. And it's crazy to me. But yeah, I mean, that's cool, man. I mean, that makes me feel good. So I appreciate that. Let's see. Now, has there been any other diets that you've tried in the past? Like, have you ever done keto or what else have you tried in the past?
I feel like a lot of that type of diets have been more during like my big like fat loss journey where was I kind of was going everything in blindly and kind of just seeing what worked, but I also was in the gym consistently. So it was kind of hard to differentiate like what was the fad diet versus just a novice in the gym eating less. There was just too many factors that kind of went all at the same time to really distinguish what was actually working versus what wasn't working, if that makes any sense.
No, I get it. Again, like I went from 220 to 150. That was my weight loss journey. And whenever you're at that point, that like overweight, you're just like, dude, I'll do anything to lose weight. And a lot of people crash diet. Like they just don't eat that much or they'll do keto because at the end of the day, man, to lose weight, it's all about, the amount of calories you eat. If you're in a deficit, you're going to lose weight. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people go into keto and just completely wipe out all their carbs. But what you'll see is like before they even started that diet, the only thing they eat are carbs. So now that they cut it all out, like they're barely eating nothing. So that's why they lose weight so fast, which like can destroy your metabolism and like you'll lose a lot of weight fast, but eventually you'll find a point like where you're just stuck. You can't lose anymore. And if you do keep losing weight, like you'll probably be at like a skinny fat phase if you've been lifting weights. And I feel like that's kind of like where you were at first. And I was at some point as well. And you really get into the point of just like fix your metabolism, focus on actually improving the gym. And once you get to like a healthier spot, then we can like actually lose the last layer of fat, which is going to be completely different than our initial fat loss phase. Or I guess I should say weight loss phase. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So has anyone noticed your change or, said anything?
So when we started, it was like in the middle slash like the end of my summer semester. And then a lot of our progress was made when I was actually like on my summer break. So a lot of my friends hadn't really seen me in like in I think it was like 6 weeks. And like one of my friends was like, "Yeah, like your arms look bigger from the last time I saw you." So like the changes were there. I mean, they were subtle. It just took a little. I didn't notice it, but like other people did.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, what about like your before and after photos? Do you see anything there?
Um, Definitely with my arms, especially the chest. I feel like some days I see it, some days I don't. But I feel like my arms have been like the biggest difference where I can like from a before and after, I'm like, okay, like no, there's actual progress there.
Yeah. No, I mean your arms have gotten pretty thick. I see your gym photos and it's tough, man, because like our check-in photos is in like a same spot, not the greatest lighting in the world. Sometimes like the lighting will be good, sometimes it's not. So it is tough, but like whenever you post at the gym, I see like your vein down your arm, like dang, that's crazy. So
It-
your arms
my
definitely,
arms are generally on the veinier side.
yeah,
So like I don't know, I feel like the forearm especially it's kind of easy to see it. And
yeah,
then the lighting for the photos, it's overhead lighting in my bedroom, plus the blinds, the shades being open, so I get natural sunlight. So if it's rainy and cloudy that day, that's why it differs from week to week.
yeah, exactly, man. So it is tough. It's like we should start taking our progress or yeah, our progress photos of the gym. Make sure it's like consistent lighting, but no, I mean, we know what it works. We know what to expect, honestly. Like, I feel like we have like a very structured plan with you and like know what to expect for the next week, especially like during our metabolic priming phase. Like, I'm sure you got on to the point of like, oh, okay, we're adding 100 calories this week. Did you start getting the hang of that?
I mean, eventually it was like certain weeks would be like, oh, we're adding more of this. I was like, oh, thank God. And sometimes I feel like in the beginning, I would just be hungry. And I'd be like, I'm like, okay, let me not push it. We'll be adding more soon. It was very much once we got past the 3,200 calories, 3,200 calories is when I was like, okay, like I don't find myself being like ravenously hungry like an hour after I eat a meal.
Yeah, and I mean, how would you say now eating 3,600 for the last few weeks? Would you say it's been kind of tough? What do you think? And keep in mind, you are on a bulk, so it's not going to be like super easy. Like bulks are tough, man. People say that, losing weight's a lot harder than bulking. Personally, I think bulking's a lot harder, especially if you do it in like a clean way and not eat whatever you want. But I mean, what do you think? Because you've been eating pretty dang clean foods.
I mean, some days it's kind of like I've been so busy that I could just be studying and I'm like, okay, let me just have this, let me have one of the snacks I have on my meal plan. And there's some days where I'm just like, I'll really like, oh, I've only eaten 2,800 calories. I still have to eat another like 800 more.
Yeah.
So I'll be literally having like my dinner, a protein shake. I'll literally be having like my meal and like three snacks because like my day has been so busy that I haven't thought about eating much food. And especially during when like I had exams and all that, I don't get hungry when I'm stressed.
Yeah.
So afterwards, I am like ravenously hungry. So I eat like just maybe my lunch, but then I have to be like, ugh, I have this and this to do. So I have to like eat a snack or two. So that's when sometimes with the bulk, it's like I feel like I'm just shoving food in my mouth sometimes for the sake of like making the bulk worth it.
Yeah. No, it's tough, man. I mean, I'm in the same situation right now because I mean, I've probably been eating about a little more than 3,000 right now. And I sit at this desk like 12 hours a day. Sometimes I'm just like stressed out of my mind. And yeah, I don't want to eat. I'm like, dang, bro, I gotta go warm up my food. Or sometimes I just don't even have food cooked. And the last thing I want to do is cook. So I feel that, man. It's tough, but I feel like that's just something, you get better at over time, just like anything else in your journey. Um, it gets easy. And then eventually, we'll go on like a mini cup, which we have now. We're dropping, oh man, what was it? 500 calories, I think, almost, maybe a little bit more. So I think that'll help us lean out quite a bit. But I mean, you're at a pretty solid spot, man. I mean, I like where you're at. Do you want to add anything to that?
I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the difference because I feel like I've been at the same body fat for about a year or two now.
Mhm.
And I feel like I'm kind of looking forward to this mini cut to kind of lean out a little bit and then kind of see like, 'cause I kind of want to be at a body fat where it's like I can maybe see some abs. I don't, that's not like the end goal, but
Mhm.
like I want to at least my first small goal is to get below 20% body fat.
Yeah. I think that'll be a piece of cake, especially with how many calories your maintenance is at right now. Which I mean, we've gained a little bit of weight, but like it's gonna happen. Weight fluctuates. I think your average is probably anywhere around 186, 187, which isn't terrible. So we're in a pretty solid spot, man. We'll slowly take out calories, add cardio. But the thing is, like, we don't want to completely get rid of all our calories fast. You know what I mean? Because if we do that, then what's the point of doing that metabolic priming phase anyways? So I think you're in for a treat to learn, the cutting phase, which I'm excited to get into. So, oh, I'm really excited, man. You're gonna have a good transformation because you follow everything, which is great. So,
Yeah. And I liked how even with our check-in videos, you explain like what you're adding.
yeah,
So it makes it easy for myself to be like in the future, okay, like I can add for a bulk, I can add carbs first, or add like this amount of carbs, this amount of protein, maybe hold the fat to another week or two. And then seeing, and I'm looking forward to seeing like when it comes to the mini cut, what to take out so that way it could be more sustainable and not wasting the metabolic priming phase that we did.
exactly. Yeah. And I think that's another cool thing about this whole thing is like not only am I gonna make sure you get your goal, man, but I want to teach you along this journey. And that's something that I always say. So would you say that you've been learning quite a bit too?
Absolutely. So I feel like I kind of knew like the basics of like surplus for bulk, deficit for a cut. But I feel like most people don't go into like what macros are important to add first,
Right.
or which ones you don't want to add right away, is you're not trying to get the results that you want.
Yeah, exactly. Now I kind of wanted to ask, like, why couldn't you do this by yourself?
It's mainly the macros part of it. I feel like I needed someone to kind of guide me a little bit. Is I'm someone who needs to like I can't self learn. Like as much as I can explain stuff once I learn it, to actually learn it, I'm a terrible self learner. Like
Yeah,
put me behind a computer to teach myself something, I will either get distracted or I would just be so more lost and confused. I would rather spend money to have someone teach it to me.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I'm the same way, man. And I think it's just like the faster way there. Like, I mean, personally, I'm not scared to spend money to like invest in myself and just like get to point A to point B faster. So I think that's very important as well. You know, it's information that you'll have for the rest of your life. Now, what would you say has been like your favorite part of this whole entire program so far?
That I feel like there's a lot of aspects. I feel like just seeing like my strength increase and like being able to like do certain exercises and kind of be like and very much like for example, like comes to like dumbbell bench presses. It's very much something where like when we started, I was doing like 40s. And
Mm,
I kind of felt like to myself, I'm seeing guys next to me doing like 75s, 80s. And I'm like, I want to get to that point.
yeah,
Not to say for the ego lifting, but like actually have the strength to actually do reps at 70.
yeah. You're there, man. I mean, you're repping out 60s for like 12. You could definitely push 70s for some reps. Now, with like the program aspect, so like, you know, our check-ins, the programming, our little community that we got going on, it's small, but it's getting there. What would you say has been your like most, I guess, helpful?
I mean, like the homepage kind of being like a checklist has been so much, it's been so helpful. To be some days where I'm like, I forget, is it back day today or is it leg day? Like I think I texted you like 2 weeks ago being like, I packed the wrong clothes, but I opened the app and it's like, oh, okay, it's this day. And I can just like check off what I've done. And like the app has a logbook. So like it helps me to kind of keep track of like, oh, I was doing this last week. This felt kind of easy. Let me go up and wait next week.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do too. I mean, I just started using the app as well since I've been like on my off season. I literally have been setting like some sort of PR every single day at the gym. Just because like I can keep note of like, okay, I can definitely do more on this because I had left in the tank or some left in the tank. And it just allows you to push harder. So I agree with you there. That's one of my biggest takeaways as well. Now, would you say like this has impacted your confidence at all yet?
I mean, 100%. Like it definitely has. Because
Mm,
I feel like my strength has increased to the point where it's like it's still a work in progress, but I don't feel like uncomfortable of saying like, yeah, I'm using 60 pound, 70 pound dumbbells for like
mm,
a bench.
yeah.
When before it was like I was then using 55s, I think, for a flat, and like if I was lucky, 45 for the incline.
Yeah. I mean, that's still not terrible, to be honest. But did you ever struggle with self-confidence in the gym? Because I've talked to a lot of people that tell me like they don't want to go to the gym because they're like embarrassed.
I mean, for me, no, because I was very much like, if I'm gonna do something, I kind of want to do the exercises correctly.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I feel like I did injure myself at one point because I was like I did a leg press 2 days in a row when my body should have been like, give your legs a rest. You already did like too much in like in a short time frame. But then also like certain gyms, certain commercial gyms specifically, I see people do like really weird things, like walking on a treadmill on an incline, using little 5 pound plates and just doing this.
I know, man.
And it's like, if I see people doing that and I'm like kind of judging, like I feel like certain instances like that never really like hurt my confidence necessarily. It was more just like, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes my social battery is depleted, and usually at the gym, it's like that's the last place I want to talk to people.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, man. Like at the end of the day, everyone at the gym's there to better themselves. They have the same mindset as you. You know, we all start somewhere. I remember my first time at the gym, like I was embarrassed too. But if you're really serious about wanting to achieve like this goal that you have in mind, you'll get past it. And eventually it'll just become like, who cares? You know, and even if someone does judge you in their own head, they're not going to remember it once you leave or 10 minutes after, 5 minutes after. Like, who cares, you know? So. Now, if someone was watching this call right now, you know, struggling to lose weight, or I guess watching this video, struggling to lose weight, you know, they hate their plan, like their diets, just starving themselves, like what would you tell them to do?
If you're dieting and you're starving yourself, you need to reconfigure what you're doing. Either find a coach who will address your needs and adjust your calories appropriately. Um, and then in terms of like workout, definitely trying to figure out what groups, muscle groups that you want to work on, and just appropriately plan it out when,
Yeah,
or seek out a coach that will help guide you to those goals that you want. Because you should be the main focus of the long term goal, not the coach trying to make money off of you.
right. No, that's a huge thing, man. Now I didn't touch on this, but like the flexible like meal plan that we have going on, how would you say about that? Because I remember whenever you told me you have this muffin, this protein muffin, I didn't know what it was. And I always say this to everyone, just like if there's something in your diet that you want to add in, like we could probably do that. You know, we can make it work. And you've had this like protein muffin in there since like day one. Are you still eating that every day?
Yep,
And I mean, literally, like, I mean, I hope you know that if there's anything you want to change in your diet, like, you would just let me know. And I feel like there's been times like that. So, like, you don't want to hate what you eat. You want to enjoy, like, the process of it. And if there's anything that makes you hate it, just communicate. Communication is key. And it's like a coach and me, it's like we're in a relationship, man. Like, you just got to communicate with me so you can achieve your goal, you know?
exactly. It's like I'm someone who does not like, most people in their diets include peanut butter. And
Yeah.
like from day one, that's one thing I'm like, okay, I'll do avocado, I'll do different types of fats, just no peanut butter.
I know. I remember that.
And that was something we took care of.
Bagels and peanut butter. He was like, nope, we're not doing that. I was like, yes, sir. So we took that out. Well, man, I really appreciate you hopping on this call. You've had some great progress so far. I can't wait to see how this fat loss journey goes. I think you're absolutely going to crush it. So you'll be back on this, and after your fat loss phase, we'll have your transformation up, and it's going to look great. Are you excited?
I really am,
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you for doing this with me, man, and
of
hopefully,
course.
your words can inspire other people, which I believe they will. So, thank you guys for watching.